Hi, it's Jessie. I'm back again, and I've been making these videos, right? If you know me, you'll know better. And I got this issue with these people who want me to join their team, and because I tell them no, then they say, well, we'll just stay with your enemies and we'll kill you anyways, you know? And the weapons of their warfare, uh, they don't play fair, right? They don't make sense, right? Like, a long time ago, people tried to make it look like I didn't have custody of my kids when I've always had custody of my kids. I've spent every day of my life with my kids. But in trying to prove that I didn't have custody of my kids, what they did was they were like to this person, they were like, so what kinds of foods did the kids eat? What do the kids eat? And this person, not knowing my children, says, well, I feed them tacos. They love tacos. And what they didn't know was my kids don't eat Mexican food. They don't eat tacos. They've never eaten tacos in their life, right? So this lady I was telling you about, Christine, like 8 years ago, she invites Olivia over for dinner with her daughter, and they serve tacos. And it was the first time Olivia actually ate tacos. She didn't eat tacos because she likes them. She ate them because she wanted to be part of the group, She ate them because she didn't want to disrespect Christine in her house. So she loaded up a taco shell with a whole lot of tomatoes because while Olivia doesn't like tacos, Olivia loves tomatoes. And the girl will eat tomatoes with mustard squirted on them for a snack. It's disgusting, but she loves it. So a tomato taco is okay with Olivia. But that doesn't mean my kid likes tacos. It doesn't mean that she's ever eaten tacos. If you said that we feed her tacos all the time to nourish her, you'd be lying. My daughter would be starving. She would only be eating tomatoes on a tortilla shell. It's ridiculous. But that wasn't the end of the lie there. Now, since Christine and her daughter are gone, because of the lies that they told them, because of the way that they exploited them, and they can't use them anymore because they went back and forth with too many lies, so they're kind of useless for them now. Now we have a new group of friends for Olivia, right? And this new group of friends like to hang out at Taco Bell. And Olivia went one time after theater, and I guess she had nachos, and she said they were disgusting, right? Olivia will eat nachos in the house, with the Tostitos cheese. That's not eating Mexican food, that's eating Tostitos. Um, but she didn't like Taco Bell's taco or nachos. And so the second time that Olivia went, I'm like, why do you want to go to Taco Bell? You don't even like Taco Bell. And she's like, their potatoes aren't too bad. But I'm like, she's going to become part of a group, a group who's only talking to her to prove this case from way back when, where they said that I didn't have custody of my kids and somebody else did, which was a lie. They were just using the people around me, the people who had some kind of access to me through my kid to prove a lie. And they're doing the same thing now. They're using the people around my kid to prove a lie. And it's ridiculous because my daughter wants friends. And how do you think that this is going to impact her? These people, they aren't being her friends because of who she is. They're not thinking that she's a great person, which she is. They're not thinking that she's fun to be around, which she is. They're thinking, let's do this so that, we can get ahead in some way. We can get the approval of our leaders, our teachers, our principal. We can get ahead. And when I had this enemy back here who, by the way, has a conviction, a criminal conviction on their record, and we have all these people looking to substantiate his lies, it's a problem. You like teamwork, but have you considered who's on your team? And if you are willing to work with this person back here who is absolutely lying and substantiate their lies through the people around my children, then I'm absolutely not going to work with you. I'm never going to join your team because you're doing Nazi stuff, you know? You're using the community around you to undermine, sabotage, and make lies look like truth, you know? And it's wrong. Your character is bad, and I won't associate with you. So when you say, if you don't join our team, we will kill you, you know, you will go to jail because we're going to substantiate these lies. I'm not really intimidated by you. I don't care how big your army is. I see that you can use anybody that you put your finger on, but here's the thing. I have a God. So I'm not afraid to stand by myself. I can stand by myself. I'm good. I'm good. You know what? You took everything from me. I'm good, you know? You ruined me. I'm good, you know? I don't want anything from your hand. God will build me when it's time, you know? Right now, yeah, I'm eating at the table of my enemies, you know, because the Lord provides a table for you in the presence of your enemies. What the Bible doesn't tell you is that your enemies are feeding you, you know? Everybody wants to be your friend, you know, because they need to be connected to you in some way to sustain their life after trying to kill you, you know. And some people would say that they're sorry, because I thought that they were sorry when they wanted to join back to me, but it wasn't that they were sorry. They were just trying to keep a hold on the narrative. They were trying to keep control over my story, and they couldn't do it unless they were placed in proximity to me, you know. They needed to come in and gather intel, just like Delilah was sent in to gather intel on Samson. Tell me the secret of your great strength, she would say. But you know that she wasn't there for him. She was there for the authority who was paying her to be there, you know. So even now, when we look back on this criminal from way back when, who they're substantiating his lies, we have to understand that this criminal, they got him a good job. They lifted him up real high, real high. And so to say now, join to you, did Samson join to you and go kill Delilah? No, he didn't. Delilah went off and lived her life, you know. She took that money and ran. Samson took you down, and then the world had peace. The world doesn't have peace in taking out Delilah, you know. The world has peace in deconstructing this unjust institution that has no laws. It has no limits. It has no standards. It will do. It doesn't look for truth. It looks to prove something, and it's outright ridiculous, you know. I was listening to Biden yesterday telling Trump to join my team or I'll join you, and we'll get this border thing together. But here's the thing, Trump is not going to join you because he views you as the enemy. He's not going to join you because you are the opposition. He's not going to give any power to you. You know, you have to kind of even the offer, you know, he's going to exploit that to say that you're weak. But this teamwork thing, it doesn't work. It never works because the two are never supposed to be one. You know, we're never supposed to join together to work this thing out in the way that you think. We're supposed to join together to work to an objective, and maybe that's what you're saying. But when you say join me, you're not saying join this cause. You understand? There are two different things between join this cause and join me. There's two different things between join this cause and I'll join you. You know, there's two different things. You have to understand this, and you have to understand that Trump operates on a different set of standards than you operate on. You know, I know Trump's character. I've met Trump's character over and over and over and over again, and I'm not saying, oh, let's go kill him. You know, I'm not saying that he's my enemy. I'm saying that if you want to work with Trump when he views you as the opposition, then you're going to have to give something to him. You're going to have to prove that doing what's right is beneficial to him. And the way that you can do that, for one, is to look at this, look at one of these cases that he's in, right? let's take this case on where he fraudulently filled out applications for loans, right? Now, how can we defend this, right? Because his lawyers did a bad job of defending it, obviously. But how can we defend this? Let me show you how we do it in the right way, okay? Because maybe Trump didn't have the intent to defraud people. Maybe he was looking at his property as more valuable because he saw it that way, you know? He saw it as worth more than that, you know? I had these friends in Texas who, well, to be quite honest, they lived in a manufactured home and they had chickens in their backyard. But it was a farm to me. To me, in my eyes, it was a farm. I'll tell you about my friends in Texas who lived on a farm, you know. It was down there across from the Medieval Times farm, you know, where they train all the horses for medieval times all around the world, you know. And the next time I went down there, my friend, obviously, me calling her place a farm, had gotten back to her. She goes, you know, my home is a manufactured home, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know it is, but to me it's beautiful, you know. My friends are beautiful. Their animals are beautiful. You know, I love them. I don't have to say that just because their house is a little dilapidated, you know, just because it's a little worn down and rusty, you know. I don't have to look at those things. Sometimes we want to judge things with favor, and when we judge things with favor, we see beauty, you know. So while they think that we live in a dump, I think you live on a farm, you know. And it's not I'm lying, it's the way that I view the world. So when we say that he embellished the value of his property, maybe we're saying this is the way that he viewed the world. And to say that it was fraudulent, well, the guys who give out the loans, see, it's their responsibility to verify information because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So it's their job. They're the ones that failed, and you're holding Trump accountable for their failure. You see, this is why the case is wrong, you know? And not only that, but this was not a case that was brought because he was caught red-handed. This is a case that was brought through deep investigation because somebody wanted to kill him and they wanted it to be justifiable. So they went and said, let's find something in his past that we can kill him with. And this is absolutely wrong. There are so many ways that you can stand on the side of right and support Trump. And I'm not justifying him, you know. But I am saying that this system is wrong, you know. This system is wrong. It's wrong for what it's doing. And if we all can come together and get to on the side of this, then maybe you can get him on the side of that, you know, where he's not blocking your efforts in Congress through his hold on them, you know, because he recognizes that it's not about him, that it is about the good of the country. But when you show him that, hey, doing this, defending you here is in the good of the country, then you show him that, you know, you are someone that he can work with. You know, it's not about being on your team. It's about a partnership for the betterment of America, right? Because you might not like Trump. You might think, good, he got his just desserts. You might think all of these things. But this due process that they were lacking way back when, this needs to be challenged, you know. This holding him accountable for the bank's failure to find, to verify the information that was presented to them, that's on them, you know. It is their responsibility. They're the ones who sign off on the check. It is their responsibility to know if this information is true, if it's not true, and you can't hold someone responsible for their failure to check, you know. There are ways that we can join together to do what's right, and it can't just be about what you want, what's best for the nation, because he's stuck here in this drowning pit of everyone trying to kill him. You know, he's feeling kind of lonely over here. And because he's feeling kind of lonely, he's feeling abandoned and betrayed by his country, you kind of have to embrace him and show him that, hey, your country still loves you. You know, the president still loves you. We're gonna get through this together, because where you did wrong, you're gonna have to be accountable. But where we have this kind of thing where they're putting more on you than is your responsibility, no. And just because they can say one thing and a judge comes into agreement with them, it doesn't mean that it's true. You know, it judges, when the wicked rule, when you have people who do these things, who dig in and who are absolutely convinced that you need to die, it's not very hard for them to convince someone to share their opinion, you know. For one thing, when someone's so passionate about somebody needs to die, you know, if you stand against them, then you're the enemy and you're their next target. It's real hard to abandon their cause and stand on the side of what's right, you know, but you absolutely positively have to do it, you know. It's just my opinion. It's not just my opinion. It's the right thing, you know. The thing about wicked people, you know, where we have all these people going after him, looking to take a bite out of him. They have blinders on. They have tunnel vision. They can't see outside of the scope, you know. Just like Trump, he can't see outside of the scope, you know, of what he's doing. He can't see the consequences of his action. He can't see the long-term effects of it. He can't see the dominoes rolling, you know. All he can see is, we have this objective, we're going to do it because this is what we want to do, you know. It's not about seeing a bigger picture. And if you want them to see a bigger picture, you have to take those blinders off. And if you want to get close enough to take those blinders off, then you're going to have to come in a gentle way, you know. You're going to have to come in a way with favor. And it kind of seems like you're bowing before them, but you're not really bowing before them if you realize that the things that have happened, some of these things that have happened to them, are actually unjust. If you realize that, then you're not bowing to him. You're bowing to the law. You're bowing to justice. You're bowing to truth. You're bowing to a bigger picture, you know. And you make it easy for yourself. Why? Because these people with these blinders on, they're transactional. They don't see the value of life. You know, when I say they don't see these things falling down, they don't actually see the value of life. They don't understand, you know. It is, if you'll do this for me, I'll do this for you. It's not about relationship. It's advancing this agenda right here, you know. And so you kind of have to teach them that the laws are more important than their agenda. That the law is something to be protected. It is always meant to be protection. And if you weaponize the law, we're in trouble, you know. You can't do this. Not with our laws here in America, you know. We came out of something where people targeted people like this, and they went through and they did things to prove things, and they got things justified, you know. But that didn't make anything that they did right. It was like it was illegal murder, you know. It was weaponizing the justice system against the people, you know. And so you wanna understand that they're operating from this transactional place, and you want to teach them. You want to teach them, taking those blinders off, that this is actually better for everyone. I know this way looks profitable for you, but look at the bigger picture. It's not profitable for anybody, you know. You got to take those blinders off, and they're not going to be able to hear you. You know, they're not going to listen to you unless they can lift you. And if you give them like a reason to lift you, you know, they might hear what you're saying, you know, because they're transactional. They can't just let you do something good for them. They have to do something good in return, you know? And then they might work with you. And it's not like I'm saying go bribe Trump. It's all this is really complicated to explain. I'm trying really hard not to put my foot in my mouth, you know. But it's not saying to like bribe Trump to do the right thing, but it's to say like I told you the other day, snakes are only dangerous until you learn how to handle them, right? My brother, throw a blanket on him and let him go to sleep. You know, God, He gives us rest from the evil because He makes them sleep a lot. He makes them sleep a lot. And if they're awake, they're eating. You know, yeah, they know how to unite people. They know how to bring people together, but it's always on their cause. It's always a little bit twisted, you know. And if let me back up again. Okay, so in the beginning, God divided the light from the darkness, right? He divided us, right? The darkness has this power over people where it can make people do things, you know. Nobody will know, you know. They deserve it, you know. There's no laws or justice. There's no limits or standards. But over here in the light, there's mercy. We have laws. We have standards. We have due process. We have ways of doing things, right? When we, in the light, start using these ways that are of the dark, we run a big risk. Why? Because when the darkness operates, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, please understand what I'm saying. Don't think I'm a scrupulous nut for quoting Bible scripture to you. But when the darkness operates, most of the world is sleeping. You know, most of the good people are sleeping. So they're running things with the people who also submit to the same order that they submit to. They have their own kind of hierarchy, you know. If they're awake in the daytime, it's because they're eating something, you know. You have to help them not to eat. They have a gross hunger and nothing satisfies them. They want to devour everything. Why? Because they're so tired. They're so worn out. They need someone else to give them energy, you know. One thing I thought about my brother when I knew what he was doing. And I was like, I can't kill my brother. God doesn't let me, you know. And I'm like, well, he needs them. And I never did. I left home when I was very young, you know. And I only ever saw my family on like Christmas and holidays. So they weren't something that I had stake in very much. They weren't something that, you know, they weren't something that fed my life power, you know, whatever we want to call it. They weren't something that held me up. So when I know my brother's going around lying, well, there's a difference. There's a line between him and me and what we need. And for me to come up and tell everybody the truth and fight, well, there's no guarantee that they're even going to believe me anyways. But it would also isolate my brother and keep him alone. And maybe he dies alone. Because he, unlike me, actually needs these people. And what he's saying when he's blaming me is he knows that these guys have no mercy. Because my brother operates out of a darkness, right? He operates out of a darkness where there is no mercy. And he's brought these standards into the light, right? So that those around him also have no mercy. And now he has to gain mercy after he did wrong by putting in a substitution, right? He has to offer up a sacrifice, and that sacrifice seemed to be me. Why? Why would he sacrifice me like this? Because I didn't need them, because I wasn't really a part of them, because I wasn't very close with them, you know? So it gets a little tricky with this darkness, because then we have these people over in the light saying something, and then these people in the light come over here with people in the light, and it keeps, the darkness keeps on growing, right? There's no mercy along the way. It's just people wanting to prove lies. People believing lies because it makes them feel better. It makes them feel better about hating me, about thinking bad things about me, about doing bad things to me, about, you know, if we could have got around all this if we just clung to the standard of mercy. And, you know, whether he was good or bad, whether you saw him, my brother, for what he was, you loved him. You showed him love and you showed him kindness. You made him a part of you, you know? I'm not saying that you were wrong to do that. I'm saying that you were right to do this, but you had the wrong motivation. You should have been covering him with, you need to let that go, you know? Everyone deserves forgiveness. There has to be some kind of due process. If you confess to a crime and you want to say that you didn't do it, your appeal needs to be made in the court, you know? It needs to be made in the court, because you can't try people over here and just because you get, like, everybody saying the same thing, it doesn't make it true. There has to be some kind of process outside of you. There has to be some kind of separation of powers. You can't just, you can't save yourself, you know, because you're going to cause a lot more harm along the way. But if you understand, they embraced him. They loved him. He was who he was. They embraced him. They loved him, right? Don't negate that because you find out some kind of truth, because then you kill the snake, you know? But understand that your approach in embracing him and picking up his standards, it was wrong. You should have been saying, like, that's over now. You're working on being a better person. You're developing your character. You're doing good things. You're nice to be around. You're funny, you know? Gosh, my brother's qualities, but not to find excuses to not love somebody. You know what I mean? Not to find excuses to not love somebody. You have to change the way that we operate, because the light has taken the standards from the darkness, and the light needs to remain as it is. My brother is not a stumbling block for me. I know who he is, and I loved him anyways, you know? He's a stumbling block for you because you think that you're going to grab this and justify murder. You can't live that way. You cannot find your life's purpose in taking away somebody else's life, you know? You cannot find your life's purpose. You cannot feel better about yourself by taking down someone else. If you want to feel better about yourself, then you need to develop yourself. You need to build your own character, develop your own skill set, win the admiration of the people through the work of your own hands. Then you can feel better of yourself in a way that you don't have to take my life, where we don't have to have this lifelong war, you know? And I speak this not because I want to take someone's life. This is not my defense. This is not my offense. This is me speaking of what is right. It's not the people in the world that's wrong. It's the order. And the problem with the order is that the light has adopted the standards of the dark, because the light has said, we're going to eat more people. And no, you were never supposed to eat more people. You're not supposed to consume darkness. You're supposed to push it back. You know, there's a difference. You're supposed to restrain it. You're supposed to put limits on it. You're supposed to say, when they want to eat somebody, no, you must show mercy. You know, there's a big difference. My brother's not a stumbling block. I love him. You understand? I know what he is. I still love him. You know, I can see his good qualities. I can tell you a whole lot of bad stuff. The guy spit in my face, holding me down, sitting on my chest for years. Believe me, I can tell you bad stuff about my brother. But I can tell you I'm not allowed to kill him. And I hold true to this standard. So my brother is not my stumbling block, but rather these people who sit up high, who say, kill your brother or we'll kill you. These people are my stumbling block, you know? Don't tell me, screw your case. You know, screw your case. Don't tell me the truth is the truth and still you can't kill my brother. I can acknowledge the truth and say you can't kill my brother, you know? But you don't have any business doing his bidding. You don't have any business justifying murder. You don't have any business depriving me of life, of exploiting my children. You don't have any business in doing that. So you, being my stumbling block, right? You are now subject to the table that you set. And you can choose to refuse to be used. You could say, this way is wrong because we're going to die this way. She's not going for her brother, you know. She's not going for Delilah. She's coming for us, you know. Choose to refuse to be used. And let's do things right. In the light, we celebrate mercy. We hold truth to the law. We don't devour the darkness. We push it back. We give it limits. We give it guidance, you know. We're going to do things right from here on out, you know. I hope that you all understand what I'm saying. I really hope that it gets across for you, okay? But I'm over 30 minutes, so my video is going to cut off. And I'm going to say have a great weekend, all right? Shabbat shalom.